Once you have documents in a SkyDrive Pro account, you'll probably want to view or use them at least once in a while. We do that exactly the same way we would from any other SharePoint library, using the Open menu, and then we'll click or tap Edit. Now that we're in Excel, we do anything we want because, again, this file is just a file. It just happens to be stored in a SkyDrive Pro library, which is part of SharePoint. But we know that SharePoint is really no different than the network either. So it's all about location, location, location. We're not going to do a whole lot with this, but I did want to show you that when you go to File and you look at the info, it does tell you that this is being stored in part of Michael Brooks' SkyDrive account. At this point, I also wanted to remind you that if you go to do things like save, save as, or open, that the SkyDrive account is listed along with SharePoint when these things have been installed and activated correctly. If you remember to keep all of these concepts simple, all we ever do with SharePoint, including the new SkyDrive Pro, is change the location of the activities that we've probably been doing for quite some time. If for whatever reason you don't want to go into SharePoint, or maybe this is one of those times when you're not connected to SharePoint, remember that a few minutes ago we started to synchronize our shared documents folder. Well, how do we use that synchronized copy? The answer is to remember what the message told us, that it would be found by simply going to Windows Explorer. So let's move down to our taskbar and open up Windows Explorer real quick. And notice, as promised, on the left-hand side, there's now an entry under our favorites group called SharePoint. By clicking on SharePoint, we can see the shared documents library that we synchronized. And if we open that up, here are all of those files. If we are not connected to the network, we can work on these files and the changes will be saved here, and they will automatically synchronize when we connect back to the network. If we are connected, then opening them here is basically just a different way of accessing the files. But things are very easy to get to, whether we're online or offline. The last question people have is, what if I don't want to synchronize something anymore? How do I stop SkyDrive Pro? That answer is not quite as intuitive. In order to see that, you need to come down into your taskbar and look for the little SkyDrive Pro or the cloud symbol. This will tell you if it's up to date, but if you click on it, more importantly, you can force it to sync now, you can pause the syncing, you can stop syncing a particular folder, and of course you can even exit out of SkyDrive Pro as well. This synchronization is one part of the puzzle that people have been missing or have been frustrated about and are so happy to see once they know about it. It's important to note that in order to have offline access, you need to sync a library for the first time. Once you synchronize a library, it doesn't just copy a link to that content into SkyDrive Pro, it also creates that offline copy on your hard drive that we just looked at. So many things have evolved over the life of SharePoint that sometimes it's hard to keep track, and maybe you haven't even been using it long enough to keep track of what those changes are. Some of the difficulties, though, are kind of coming about as it evolves, as it matures, and that's one of the wonderful things about working with software over time, is seeing this growth. SkyDrive Pro is one of those features. We need to remember that SkyDrive is the free personal storage site available from Microsoft, but SkyDrive Pro is a personal storage library that's part of SharePoint 2013 and available through your organization or Office 365 subscription. SkyDrive Pro, or SDP, does several things. Of course, it provides space for us. It allows us to organize files the way that we want, because remember, we may not have administrator privileges in SharePoint libraries, but we are the administrators, the owners, within our own SkyDrive Pro. Because of that, we also can work with permissions. It allows us to share files, and not only with others in our organization, but even with others outside of our organization. One of the most important features for many people who work and who move is that it provides offline access to content. By synchronizing libraries to SkyDrive Pro, we also create that offline access that so many people have wanted. Accessing SkyDrive can be done from many places. It's available from the SharePoint toolbar, it's available from within Office applications, and once it's synced, it's even available from things like your system tray on the bottom right side of your screen, or from Windows Explorer. You don't have to use SkyDrive Pro, and honestly, a lot of people don't. But it can be that last little piece of the puzzle that rounds out all of the functionality that you're looking for from SharePoint. integrating things together and giving you that big, powerful picture of having centralized storage with full collaboration and easy access to all of the files that you need to use.